What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the GITM podcast, where we cover true crime, paranormal, conspiracy theories. Tonight, we're doing a conspiracy theorist episode. I can't talk tonight. I'm just so flabbergasted.
Just blame it on the stroke.
Discombobulated. But I can say discombobulated, but I can't say the difference between conspiracy theory and theorist.
You just got a little razzle-dazzle on you, man. It's okay.
That's all right. We'll be all right.
So what's new?
Well, hold on.
Oh.
Tonight, we're talking JFK Assassination, not your typical episode where we are not a deep dive. We're
shallow dive.
Yeah.
No diving.
We're just picking out the craziest, probably the most full of shit conspiracy that's engulfed in this and exploring that.
I have a feeling that you're about to dive into one of the theories in this that I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe. Does that have to do with reptilians?
This isn't well known. And I have to give a shout out to what gave me the idea was, we were talking about, I don't know if we were talking about the same person, but there's the Rabbit Hole podcast. It's just a conspiracy podcast. I don't know, you said something about Instagram. You follow somebody. Down
the rabbit hole?
It might be different people, but anyway. And this young lady did an episode, several JFK episodes, naturally, because there's a lot to dive into. But this was an update she added, and I had briefly heard about this.
Flexing my tits on camera.
Well, don't do that. You don't want the women saying anything. This was a fascinating one that I had never heard about. And as you can tell from the title of this episode, JFK, Chauffeur, Bad Driver, or Bad Actor.
I wanted to go with Baby Driver when I made the thumbnail.
We can't do that because of Kevin Spacey.
Was he in Baby Driver?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've only seen it like once.
He was the ringleader, wasn't he?
I've only seen this shit like once.
Well, hasn't he been canceled? We're not allowed to talk. What the You like to do that right now.
I just noticed it. It might throw off the reverberation.
Is that what it is? So
wait, I thought Kevin Spacey didn't get canceled because he said he was gay.
No, he tried it, but he's making a comeback. Anyway.
Well, so is fuck. Isn't Will Smith in a movie again? Didn't everybody say they wouldn't put Will Smith in movies after he bitch slapped Chris Rock? What?
That was assault.
It's whatever.
But yeah, I don't know. I think he's making a comeback. I don't know. Don't care.
He doesn't need to.
No.
I love how everybody was like, he's done in Hollywood. And like, he's fine. He's fine.
The feed is a little jumpy.
Yeah, it's jumpy on my phone too.
Oh well, we apologize.
As long as the audio's there, that's what matters. That's what gets us the tens of listeners.
It's not dropping a frame though. So anyway, that's what we're going to cover tonight. But I think before we get started, if you're a long-time listener or watcher of this particular
shit show,
we do these live, and we were actually on time tonight. We're getting back to our Monday schedule.
I think we were on time last week.
I think we were actually early last week. But
God,
we're back on Monday. We're back on Monday nights, recording these live on YouTube. So if you're catching this on your favorite podcast app, be sure to head on over to YouTube, like, subscribe, and join us live for these masterpieces of shit.
It's not good.
But before, as the people who know us and love us know, we talk a little shit before we get started down these rabbit holes.
So again, if you don't like that, jump ahead like 20 fucking minutes.
And when you say that, that's the way I'm going to cut a bunch of shit out, so it's be about 10 minutes, and you're going to miss 10 minutes of it, so piss off.
We're already at 10 minutes. Anything before the intro traditionally just doesn't even make it in.
Oh, no.
Other than YouTube.
Well, I still cut that out eventually.
What?
The stuff.
Oh, on YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, you can edit it down.
You don't want everybody to see us just being like, oh, look.
Gonzo's
Asian man and white man have been joined by Puerto Rican man.
We're multicultural.
I think he's Puerto Rican. I don't know, one of those.
Don't misappropriate him. One
of those subsects of Florida / Texas.
All right. But
one of those was someone, so he's from somewhere down there where they, they dine upon the fine people's pets of the state of Ohio.
Don't get started on that. Oh, Lord.
Hey, that stupid fucking video I made about Haitians eating cats and dogs did pretty well on TikTok.
Well,
so did that stupid fucking one with Tyler, the Creator, in it. The less effort I put into this shit, the more views it gets. It's ridiculous.
It's kind of like this whole show.
Well, and then we like clip together our shit and like try to make something original, and it's just like nobody cares.
Nobody gives a fuck about us. But anyway, so we like to talk a little shit, like I was saying. But there's something happening in the news right now as we speak that I want to cover.
A shitload of political ads that I have to see every fucking day. And not only that, you know what? Real quick before you get into that, I'm going to give a public service announcement. And this should be I'm going to clip this. I'm going to put this out on YouTube Shorts and TikTok and everywhere that has fucking video. Okay, first off, fuck you. Don't show me so many goddamn political ads. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. I don't give a shit. They're all fucking crooks. 2, make it different fucking political ads, for the love of God. I keep seeing the same fucking Bernie Moreno and the same fucking whatever the other guy is, the other twat knocker.
They spend the money, baby.
It's literally like they hire people that would, if it wasn't for these these politicians, the only job for the people that make these commercials would be to make commercials for people running for like class president of a high school.
I know. It's annoying.
Rebecca Stingflater puts her gum under the table in science class, and then it gets stuck to the knee of your jeans.
Well, get used to it. It's going to be this way until...
What, November?
November. But anyway, there's something going on in the world right now, and very topical.
Ointment?
Kind of. I think Diddy's fucked.
You think?
I think he's fucked.
You don't say. I think he's fucked as well.
I have a very important question to ask.
Is KY Jelly going to go out of fucking, or is Johnson & Johnson going to go out of business after he's arrested?
No, that's not it. But if I would have known he had that much, I would have bought some stock in that shit.
Dude, he's like all those people that were buying up hand sanitizer and shit during COVID.
You can never have enough baby oil
when you're doing what he's doing, I guess.
But I have a question for you. What do you think the over/under is before those cameras in the prison start malfunctioning?
See, from a realistic standpoint,
yes,
I don't know if he's going to have to worry about that quite so much.
I don't know.
Because he has so much fucking money. I think that if he does a crazy, what is it, like 40 years?
Whatever it is.
He's going to be very comfortable for those 40 years.
I
have a feeling they're just going to be like, we're going to take the warden's office and we're going to put bars on the windows and you're just going to be in there. It's got its own bathroom.
There's a lot of... I don't want to say... There's a difference between him and Epstein.
Yeah.
I mean, Epstein had entertainers and Hollywood, but he was more powerful politicians type. This is more entertainment. They are some freaky deeks.
Yeah, and allegedly Jeffrey Epstein was an employee of the Israeli government.
Well, that's true too. Well, not true. That's a true, or that is
a thing that is said.
That is a conspiracy theorist.
You heard it.
Is a conspiracy theory.
You heard it here last, folks.
But the whole Diddy thing is a little disappointing. Oh shit!
Shut up.
Big dog's getting pissy. How many celebrities and athletes and entertainers, rappers, singers, and all that stuff, let them go. Let them go. Are shitting backwards right now.
Because he's not the only one.
No. God damn, what is it with these dogs?
What do you want from us?
Okay, I'm going to go feed him real quick, too. I should have fed him, too. Do something with this.
Well, I'm going to go off topic because I don't want to continue talking about this topic until you get back. Phil's going to go feed a giant.
Hey, fuck part. We're recording here, asshole.
It's funny because a lot of people would be like, "Oh, you're so mean to the dog." The dog literally has like his own fucking couch. Is that what he wants?
Probably. I forgot. Generally, I feed him about this time. I wasn't thinking.
Oh, God forbid he doesn't get his second pound of food for the day.
He eats like a fucking army. Motherfucker eats more than I do.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we must. There's got to be like a bad connection or something with this video. Because usually it clears up over time, but it doesn't matter. Hey, would you chill over there? He's coming. God. You'd think I'd be the one in this house that gets upset when I don't eat on time. I'm the fucking fat one. Gonzo says he's coming over. Like that fucking country song. Was it Chris something or Brett or Colt or fucking something. I'm coming over, running every red light. See, why can't you be like the other dog? This one's good. What? I said, I was saying, why can't he be like the other dog? She's good.
Well, she's because I fed her.
She just looks like she's in a fucking catatonic state.
Well, she's fucking 190 years old.
She is fucking old. Do you actually know how old she is? That's not a good start.
No, she's 14. Oh, wait. No, she's 13.
She's up there.
She's born January 1st of 2011.
So
she's a New Year's.
She's almost 14.
Right. She'll be 14 on January.
How are you still alive? And that's not me trying to be mean. Like she's a runt. Nature tried to kill her ahead of time.
All right, I'm back from feeding the Goliath.
So what were we talking about? We were talking about Diddy. He's obviously fucked. How fucked he will be in the long run depends on how much money he's able to keep in order to save his own ass.
See, but I think...
But that didn't work for Gotti either.
The people that he obviously took video of, and I'm very upset about it. I mean, there were some cool-ass people that were obviously getting freaky. Which, hey...
I don't know if I'm gonna post face that statement with I don't know if we can technically if I would say that these are cool people.
I mean, think of everybody's been at these parties.
Everybody.
We've seen. I saw one meme that had Peter Dinklage, and it said, "Tyrion, no, please, Tyrion." You know. Imagine he got rode hard and put away.
You think he was at one?
Yeah, there was a picture of him.
Because he doesn't really do a lot of public shit. Because I heard he did. Fuck, what podcast was it? I heard he did a podcast. I can't remember which one it was, but I listened to it. It's really it was actually very interesting. Because you don't hear. I barely see shit about Peter Dinklage outside of like press runs for movies and shows that he's doing. Right. But he actually sat down for an entire interview for a podcast, and he was on Andrew Schultz. It was Schultz. Yes. That's what it was, and it was fucking funny too. Yeah, he seems like a very serious guy that wouldn't attend this type of party. But apparently, there's pictures of him at what appears to be a party. Whether it was he left early. One of those parties, but he seems like that guy. He seems like the Irish goodbye guy. I don't want to be judgmental because I think we all have a little bit of freakiness. Don't get too short with this. I like a little freaky deaky myself. But for the love of God, what was going on there is a bit much. I don't even know all of the allegations. Once I realized that he's just fucked, and I was like, oh, that's all we need to know. And if it all is true, I have a new Bieber. Like and share the video. Who discovered Bieber? Wasn't it Usher? Usher, but Usher sent him to Diddy's house, and he lived there for a while. I feel sorry. I never liked him, and I thought he was a douche. But now I kind of felt questions answered. I nutted on his face. Da, 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 da. Now I'm a believer. Really? You just ruined the Partridge Family for me, or that was the Monkees? Shrek for my generation. Oh, that's true. I'm old. I keep forgetting I'm old. But I mean, jeez. And no, Gonzo, Diddy did not enter me. I did not get invited to that party. But here's the thing. I always see that's the crazy thing. If Diddy mildly famous. And Diddy invited us to a party. We're going. Yeah. No. I mean, pretty good chance knowing that what we know now, we would have walked in and 20 minutes later been like, all right, we're going to go and house some of this free liquor and then we're out. And you know how you walk when you got to take a shit and you're trying to hold it in? That's the way I'm walking out the fucking door. I would take a shit before I left. In Diddy's bathroom. Take that, motherfucker. Even though it'd be it would be dangerous though, because I feel like walking into any tile floor that Diddy is often on would be you remember Along Came Polly, the Ben Stiller movie? Yeah, I'm trying to think. Ben Stiller. I always get that in Whatchamajigger. And was it Jennifer Aniston? I don't think it was Jennifer Aniston. It might have been. And fucking, what's his name? The one that's dead. Okay, that the one that played Capote. Capote? Yeah. He's in Hunger Games. Fuck, what's Philip Seymour Hoffman? Oh, yeah. Make it rain. That guy. Yeah. Did you remember the part at the wedding when he's walking in and he's like, "Hey, Ruben," and he just goes straight down on the dance floor? They were talking about how they need to wax the dance floor more, and he said, That's exactly what it would be like to walk into Diddy's bathroom.
No, but I think we would go to the said party. We would see what was going on and say, huh, that's interesting. Ooh, wow. Never seen that before. And probably exit stage right.
And then I would ruin everything because you'd be doing that and I would be standing 12 feet to your left seeing the same thing as you at the same time with a fucking little finger sandwich and like a big free alcoholic drink, and you'd be like, oh man, I gotta get out of here. And I'd be back in left field like, what the fuck?
So, but
Phil, you see that shit?
But we
gotta go.
Here's the thing.
Take the Di Serono. Let's get out of here.
I think we're going to politely decline the next invitation. I know I would.
You think?
But these motherfuckers that been to multiple?
See, and that's because it's going to come into, it's going to beg the question of people are going to be like, yeah, I went, but I left after 20 minutes. It was an appearance.
But you've been to other parties. You knew what it was about.
What about the parties at Jeffrey's house? What about the parties at Bill Gates' house?
I want to get the phone or the airplane logs to Diddy's plane.
Compounds.
Anyway.
Well, he's got like fucking 12 properties, doesn't he?
Not
around
anymore.
The world. Well, yeah. Fair enough.
Yep. Anyway.
A bunch of fucking 14-year-olds have a property.
So I'm going over and under, getting back to the original statement of this topic, 14 days. I'm going under 14 days.
Before he gets fucked up in prison?
Before the camera stops working. And maybe, I don't know, a few guards get narcolepsy and fall asleep. I'm going under 14 days.
I mean, it's one of those ones, like, you almost have to think, like, with Diddy's past being, not coming from, like, the best of beginnings in the areas that he grew up in, you'd think it's a 50-50. Either you're fucked or you're smart enough to shut the fuck up, and people who know what went on know that you're smart enough to shut the fuck up and just bite your time, even though he's not going to make it out of that time.
Right.
I mean, he will. Everybody's like, oh, he's going to get 40 years. If he survives, he's not doing 40 fucking years.
Well, I just hope
he's going to buy a bunch of shit for the prison system. He's going to do a bunch of good things, and they're going to fucking cut time off for good time and for programs and shit like that.
Well, I hope if there are any, and I'm not that up to date on this story, if there are any young children in this ring,
they get all of his money.
No, I hope we find out who these people are and they are dealt with accordingly. Unlike Epstein's, she's in prison for trafficking kids to whom? Nobody, because nobody's been arrested.
Right. Even though they have the fucking paperwork.
But nobody's been arrested. I hope some other people fall with this.
Well, extradition laws, fuck off.
Yeah. So
just because half of them were the royal family. Oh, hot take.
Just one of them, right?
I don't know, that old Nosferatu-looking motherfucker that's king now.
That is very.
He looks like if Nosferatu fucked Montgomery C. Burns from The Simpsons. That's what you would get. You would get King whatever the fuck his name is.
All right.
King Creepy Fingers.
Okay, we've went a little
That's
bit
his
long.
rap name. Hello, it's King Creepy Fingers on the ones and twos.
All right. You got anything else topical you want to discuss before we dive deep into the JFK crazy conspiracy theory that probably is a bunch of bullshit, but it's going to be fun to talk about? I'm going to take your silence as a no.
I was reading a message from somebody that I haven't seen, whose name I haven't seen in quite some time, who is related to me. I think it's one of those their accounts got hacked situations.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
I don't, is there anything else going on?
Nah, not really.
Like a major, we talked about Trump somebody tried to possibly kill Trump again.
That was the other day, yeah.
Unalive, sorry. Apparently, if we take off on YouTube, we're going to have to start saying things like unalive.
Well, that's just hard to say.
I mean, if it's the difference between no views and 1,000 views, which is a lot of fucking views for us.
Do we have to say, something like wanking instead of jerking off too? I mean, what the hell?
I mean, you can always just do what, like I know, like, Danny Jones just edits his shit before he puts it out. Excuse me. Shout out to Danny Jones. Love that podcast. Phil doesn't like it.
Yeah,
let me take
that
that back.
episode aired yesterday, I believe.
Which one?
The one where I bashed him.
Oh, I wouldn't say you bashed him. You
No,
just said he's very monotone.
He's monotone. It's kind of boring, and
which he is.
And the one episode that I saw, he asked a question after the guy just literally answered the question he asked. I was like, dude, pay attention, man. Come on.
I don't know. I like it.
But he has amazing guests.
Well, and I can't blame him for kind of reiterating a question, because he has people on there that make me sit there and be like,
things that make you go,
what? What?
Huh?
Like this whole fucking Amon Hillman guy I was telling you about yesterday. Fuck, love to get him on. He would blow our minds, even though I've already heard him talk about the shit. The guy that was talking about how everybody was using drugs and dotes and antidotes, and Jesus, when they arrested him in that park, was with a fucking a young boy who was possibly not clothed. And the apostles are children. Or like all the apostles are like fucking like teenagers, basically.
Sweet.
That's why he calls them his children and all this other stuff. And I'm like, it kind of adds up. And given the societal norms of the time, it's not far fetched. I mean, they were definitely definitely doing things within the same sex and with outside of the range of what we call normal age restrictions.
What we call normal age restrictions is actually kind of a recent thing.
Well, do you know what like
it.
if they say like of age back then, do you know what that means? Just
grass on the field, play ball.
Puberty. That's it. But if they're within or past puberty, they are of age back then. Actually, Izzy, you don't keep missing episodes, because this is the second time we've gone live in like almost 5 months.
Well, like what, in the 30s, 40s?
Like and share the video for the love of Christ. Get us back on the radar on YouTube.
30s and 40s, maybe even in the 50s. It wasn't uncommon for a 13-year-old to get married.
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah.
Jerry Lee Lewis married his like 14-year-old cousin or some shit.
Yeah. I mean, so
wasn't Elvis's wife underage?
Yes.
Technically,
Priscilla was what?
Like 14 or 15?
14, 15. When he met her in Germany, I believe, on a base. Her father was a...
And how's like I understand like how his reputation at the time, but like how is Elvis the guy that you're just like, oh my god, he's like, hey little mama, he's like, it's literally Johnny Bravo.
Elvis was a bad motherfucker.
It's literally Johnny Bravo with dark hair.
Elvis was bad back in the day.
Did you know, other interesting fact, did you know that there was this cat named Galen who most I guess medical knowledge, if in a way, and stuff like in medical shit, was based off of what he deducted and wrote for like 1,000 years.
What in the fuck? How do we go from Elvis to that?
I don't know. It just came into my mind.
Christ. But
I've been going down rabbit holes lately, man. I'm a rabbit hole kind of guy. I am the little white rabbit. It's late.
Have you seen that conspiracy with Elvis about that one preacher in Arkansas?
Well,
I guess it's supposedly Elvis, man.
Like currently?
Yeah.
Oh, are you talking about the one that got super mad when the reporter asked him, like, Jesus wants you to have a new private jet?
No. No, he's just of a small church. I mean, he sings and sounds just like him. I will give him that. They say there's,
yeah, but a lot of guys have sung like him.
And they say there's physical markers that match. I don't see it, but okay.
Well,
but he's married to one of Elvis's girlfriends. The guitar he uses apparently was a one of a kind guitar for Elvis.
If he ain't got a pink Cadillac, it's bullshit.
It is reported that he makes appearances at Graceland, and he was even
so he's a fanboy.
He even was at Lisa Marie's funeral.
So he's a fanboy
and touched Priscilla on the shoulder. So, and and they exchanged a moment. So to get in Lisa Marie's, a fanboy doesn't get in Lisa Marie's funeral. You
do if you're the biggest. And you're fucking married to one of his exes. No, that's an in.
I think it's very. I don't see the physical resemblance necessary, but they say with the dental work, that he had then had removed is more. Yeah, they say, but I don't know. I don't see it. And he is about the same age. He tried to lie about his age, but he is about the same age because somebody put they took a picture of a birthday party for him, and I forget, Elvis would be 80-something, 81, 82 now.
Dead.
And it said 81, so this was from last year. So, age-wise, I mean, I don't know.
I just had a funny thought. As morbid as it is, that day that Elvis died, could you imagine how funny it would have been to experience 70s Elvis in the bathroom? Like, while he's all doped out and his digestive system's not working right anyway, and he was like, "Oh, good Lord, Mama. Oh." He's like, "I gotta stop getting anchovies on my pizza, baby."
Maybe one day we'll go into the death of Elvis, whether he's alive or dead. We'll hit all that marker.
He's hanging out with Tupac in Cuba or wherever the fuck that is.
I mean, if anybody could fake his own death, it'd been Elvis.
Yeah, because he was very close to nobody caring at the time of his death.
No.
He was 10 years out from being nobody.
Shit.
In physical form.
Well, even
he was 10 years out from not being able to perform.
Bloated Elvis still got more ass than me and you ever thought about getting, have ever gotten, or will ever get.
Yeah, he's just walking around looking like fucking Orson Welles with a fucking haircut and just
bad,
dipped in grease.
Even fat Elvis
was
bad.
So sweaty.
Well, fuck. Have you looked at yourself after this podcast?
I don't sweat from the podcast. I sweat when I go to the gym. I sweat at work.
All right.
I sweat when I sleep and poop.
I say we get into this episode.
I'm excited to find out if this is just entirely new to me.
We'll find out.
I haven't heard a whole lot about the driver.
Okay, we'll get into it.
What was is this? Please tell me it's somebody famous. Tell me his driver's last name was like Andretti or some shit.
No, Petty. No, Earnhardt.
Get down, boy. We're gonna do figure eights.
Okay,
They got the president. Ain't gonna get Jackie. That's my woman now.
The Secret Service have not escaped scrutiny from that dreadful day in Dealey Plaza. There are some things that conspiracy theorists have brought up and made known that just don't add up. The question is, we all know from recent events, the Secret Service can just have a bad day. So did the Secret Service on this day in 63 have a bad day, or did they play a willing role in the assassination of Mr. Kennedy, President Kennedy, JFK, the Maryland fucker?
The Maryland fucker. That's a pretty broad stroke.
Yeah, that doesn't narrow it down much. That doesn't narrow it down much in the family.
And I still use her whenever I hear like fucking like 16-year-olds at work or something like that being like, I just want to like go to the gym more. I'm like, you realize Marilyn Monroe was a size 12? Chill. You don't have to be a -4. It's okay.
No, you don't have to.
You don't have to walk around looking like Slender Man in fucking skinny jeans.
Maybe the Secret Service agents were pawns in a grand scheme to kill the president.
Or MGK.
Or were they a part of the plan all along? This is kind of the question when it comes to the Secret Service. Now let's dive into the Secret Service conspiracy just a touch.
When did the Secret Service become officially a thing?
Wasn't with Kevin Kline and Will Smith?
Shut the fuck up. I'm going to look that up.
Look that up. Did the Secret Service provide lax security in Dallas so that sharpshooter or shooters, however you want to, we're kind of talk a little bit about it, would have a clear shot at the president? So whether you believe in the lone gunman or there were multiple shooters, I have my thoughts, and we'll probably get to that at the end. It has been said that the Secret Service agents were out getting busy the night before. They were drinking Everclear at the Cellar, a rowdy beatnik club in Fort Worth whose owner, Pat Kirkwood, was an acquaintance of Mr. Jack Ruby. Now, kids, do we know who Jack Ruby?
Everclear, though?
Oh, baby.
Jesus
I've done
Christ.
some Everclear, baby.
Are you making some jungle juice?
No, I've drank that shit straight.
So have I. It doesn't make it good.
Just put some hair in your nuts.
That'll put some heartburn in your chest is what it'll do. That'll put some indigestion in your tummy.
Goes back to our last week's episode, or last live stream. The Indiana people, they love their Everclear.
Ugh. It's not good.
No, it's not good. It's fucking basically kerosene. You can put it in your car and it's going to run.
This is actually surprising.
What?
I'm surprised at how far back the Secret Service goes.
Okay.
The Secret Service, this is from secretservice.gov. The Secret Service Division was formed on July 5th, 1865 as part of the Department of the Treasury, and Chief William P. Wood was sworn into as first Secret Service chief, known as director, by Secretary of Treasury Hugh McCulloch.
What year? 1865?
1865. I didn't think it would have gone back that far.
That's, now that I think about it, there was, I think, Secret Service when, what's his name? Lincoln got shot.
Probably.
Yeah. I think.
And they did just as good of a job
But
back
they
then.
Hey, man, they were rookies. They were new. But anyway. Okay, so a lot of the Secret Service agents were boozing it up the night before the big day.
That's
They were
surprising.
hanging out with Jack Ruby's buddy. They were all talking conspiracies. You know what they were doing. Now, I would think a hangover is not a good idea for a Secret Service.
That's why they all wear those sunglasses.
Especially if those poor motherfuckers that got to run alongside that car. God damn. Holy shit. I mean, I would have stuck with iced tea instead of Everclear.
Or a nice Tom Collins. Something fancy that has its own glass.
Now, a lot of people don't know this. The concept of assassinating JFK was not a novel idea. There were plans for presidential...
You mean assassinating?
What did I say?
Assessing?
Assassinating. I said assassinating. Assassinating. And assessing the situation.
Assessing the situation of assassination.
There were plots.
Assess assassination, if you will.
The Secret Service had tips and info that there was somebody trying to light JFK up.
Yeah, what the fuck does that matter? There was literally people right before Trump got shot at going, look at that guy.
4 days before they went to Texas,
Jesus.
the presidential motorcade in Miami was scrapped because of when a right-wing extremist told police informant that Kennedy would be shot from an office building with a high-powered rifle. And I believe there was another incident where something happened in, I believe it was Chicago.
Chi-Town, represent.
Yeah. But think about it. Shot from a high-rise or elevated position with a high-powered rifle. Pretty much what happened. Against regulations, the Secret Service chose a route that required a 120-degree turn and angled that forced Kennedy's limousine to slow to a crawl as it passed the book depository. And as they made that turn onto, I believe it, onto Elm Street, they basically had to, make a 120-degree turn. You can't be taking that on two wheels with you didn't want Jackie flying out of the car.
Yeah.
That would have been bad a bad.
You can't lose all of them.
Dallas Police Chief Jesse Curry recommended that 4 motorcycles be stationed on each side of the president's limo, but the Secret Service elected to post 2 on each side at the rear bumper, which isn't a big deal. I mean,
what's it really going to stop?
What's it going to do? It's not going to stop a elevated sharpshooter.
Right.
Or,
and even if it does,
somebody from the grassy knoll.
Or then you got one dead motorcycle cop and a dead president.
Yeah, I mean, that's just,
go boom boom.
If conspiracy theorists are using that, that's a stretch. After the first 2 shots were fired, Agent William Greer, Kennedy's driver, briefly applied the brakes rather than accelerate, allowing the presidential limousine to come to a near standstill right before the 3rd and fatal shot was fired. This is where the story gets a little hinky. It gets weird. So, who is William Robert Greer? Isn't he the...
Greer.
Isn't he the...
Isn't that a cheese?
No, isn't he that the... Isn't he a doctor and doesn't he do aliens? Greer?
Probably.
He's always on Rogan and shit. Anyway.
I don't watch that much Rogan.
Oh, good old William was born September 22nd, 1904 09, and he died in February on February 23rd, 1985. Greer was born in a farm town in Stewartstown County, Tyrone, Ireland. Tyrone. Does that not say Tyrone?
Tyrone. It says Tyrone.
I mean, the whitest people on the planet have a county called Tyrone.
You can call on Tyrone.
And he immigrated to the United States in 1929.
So the driver was an immigrant?
Yes.
Was this the IRA?
No. They could have had something to do with it.
Was the IRA even founded at this time?
I'm not up to date on Irish history.
I don't think the IRA... Well, no, I'm sure they were, but I don't know. It's the IRA. That shit's been popping off forever. I know that Whitey Bulger had something to do with it.
Probably. Yeah, he was, because it was the Irish mob, yes.
I still can't believe that motherfucker got
but
out for
Mr.
12
Greer
years.
worked over a decade as a chauffeur driver and servant to several wealthy and powerful families. One of those families was the Lodge family in Boston, and another family was the Dodds Ferry family out of New York. Now, this shows he has some powerful contacts he was driving them around. Okay, so keep that in the back, especially the Lodge family. Keep that in the back of your mind, because we're going to talk about them here in a minute. And people that are elderly or alive around this time kind of probably recognize the name Lodge. This shows powerful. During World War II, Greer enlisted in the U.S. Navy and was assigned to the presidential yacht in May of 1944. What kind of dick do you got to suck to get assigned to the presidential yacht during the war?
They had a yacht?
Yeah, apparently.
I'm still stuck on that.
I mean, that fucker ain't going out. Where's it going? With all them U-boats floating around, that motherfucker was staying in port. Now, what he did on the presidential yacht, I have no idea. On October 1st, 1945, he joined the United States Secret Service. Greer's duties eventually gave him close contact with the Kennedys, and he can be seen in several pictures with the Kennedy family. Now, we're going to dive a little bit more into his Secret Service career.
I'm still shocked at the yacht thing. I'm not gonna lie. What is a yacht back then? Is it just a boat that's like twice as wide?
Pretty much. It's got the presidential seal on it.
Oh, it's just a fucking pontoon boat.
I wonder if they have two other ones that look just alike, and they kind of float side by side, so you don't know which one he's on.
Oh.
Like the helicopters.
A decoy.
Yeah. Okay.
Like fucking duck hunting.
He was pretty much Kennedy's driver, basically. And just not Kennedy's. He made a career out of this. Naturally, there was a lot of speculation and criticism of his actions on that day in Dealey Plaza, with the rest of the Secret Service detail that was attached to JFK. Greer testified in front of the Warren Commission on March 9th of 1964. Greer retired on disability from the Secret Service in 1966 due to a stomach ulcer that grew worse following the Kennedy assassination. Maybe he had a guilty conscience? I don't know.
Right.
In 1973, he relocated to Waynesville, North Carolina, where he later died of cancer. Okay. Now, here is where what gets a little weird with the the evidence that he might have played, the very weak evidence that he might have played a role in this.
Yeah.
Okay. As I stated earlier, some claim that Greer deliberately slowed down the vehicle after the first shot was fired, allowing time for further shots to go off and making it an easier target.
Right.
The Zapruder film shows the car slow momentarily after the first shot. However, the official explanation is that this was due to confusion and reaction time to the sound of gunfire, which I would think, with the sound of you're driving a car with the President of the United States in it, you hear gunfire, you don't slow down.
Right.
You gun it.
You wouldn't even think that's a Secret Service presidential thing. That's just...
I would think. Now,
traditionally, you would think that's how it would work.
I mean, if anything,
it would have made more sense if he had stopped and, like, tuck and rolled out of the car. Then I could be like, all right, maybe that's a knee-jerk.
I mean, odds are he might have panicked or froze, or they didn't have that plan. They didn't know what they were going to do if the shots were fired while he was driving in the car. I don't know.
Right.
But, or maybe the slowing down was because he could do something nefarious. which we will dive into. Skeptics say this is attributed to a natural human reaction in a crisis rather than deliberate intent, which, okay, fight or flight. I mean,
we've been over this many times. This is a situation to situation. Fight or flight. There's no flight really, or there's no fight in this one for the driver, unless he's armed. He can see a shooter. Flight is your main option, and if you're me, it's always fight because I'm fat and I'm not outrunning anybody.
Very fast, motherfucker.
What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna run from Jason Voorhees, and he's gonna find me around the corner halfway through a cigarette. Like,
time out. I mean, like,
oh, I got that weird stomach pain.
I mean, with Secret Service, I wouldn't think fight or flight plays a role. They're trained. They should be trained. Now, we're talking 1963. How well trained were they is the question. I'm sure they had protocols and they were much better than the average Joe, but are they as good as what they are now? Hopefully they've had adapted over the years to, increase their odds of success. Obviously not with Trump, but that's a different story. Maybe because they don't give a fuck. Now, but generally...
Sorry, I'm listening. I'm looking up something. I got an Instagram notification about, like, allowing something, and I don't know what the fuck.
But, common sense, I would think, even for anybody that's driving somebody of importance, if bullets are flying, it might be a good idea to punch and Fast and Furious that shit out of it.
Hit it, Jim!
I would think. But that could be me. In the Zapruder film, there we go. There's a P in that bitch. Greer appears to turn around and have, after hearing... What's so funny?
It's just... that made me think of fucking Billy Madison. When she was like, risotto, and he said... Rarudo? It's risotto. Those are Z's. She said, those look like R's to me. He said, risotto isn't a word. He was a baseball player. You're cheating.
And now, according to the Zapruder film, hearing the first shots, which some theorists claim show he slowed down, which they say basically that proves he's part of the plot. And there are some that believe, and this is what we're going to talk about, that he actually fired the fatal shot from the front seat, from behind the wheel.
Really?
Yes.
Where's the footage?
There, like I said, you do see him turn around.
Well, the dude just got his head blown off in the back seat.
You've seen? No, this was before.
Oh.
This was after the first shot. The third shot's the one that blew his brains all over the trunk of the car, which...
And Jackie O.
Well, we'll get to that. That's weird in itself. The Warren Commission investigates Greer's...
She's just, oh, God, is this where that goes? I don't know.
What is it? Fucking Mr. Potato Head?
Or MacGruber, when he was like, oh, God.
The Warren Commission investigated Greer's action and found that, like many people in Dealey Plaza, he was reacting to the sounds of gunfire and turning around to assess what had just happened. Which
fair.
Fair, but there is a little bit more to the story than that.
Self-preservation, you could argue.
Greer testified that he immediately turned around to check on the president once he heard the shots. We're going to talk a little bit more about this, but so here in a little bit. But let's get to the connection between him and Kennedy. And I mentioned earlier the Lodge family. The Lodge family is an elite family from Boston. They are closely related to the Cabot family via marriage. Anna Cabot married John Ellerton Lodge and their son Henry Cabot Lodge. They had a son, Henry Cabot Lodge. She didn't marry her husband and her son. That would just be fucking weird. They're not from Georgia.
Or Alabama.
Okay.
Or West Virginia.
Henry Cabot Lodge later went on to become a senator from Massachusetts. He was reelected for the same Senate seat against the maternal grandfather.
The same what?
Maternal.
Did you say sentency?
Senate seat.
Oh, okay.
The same.
I was gonna say. I wasn't even doubting that you made up a word. I was just gonna ask what that meant. Got it.
The same Senate seat against the maternal grandfather of JFK, John F. Fitzgerald.
No relation to Larry.
No. Jump ahead in time. The Senator Lodge's grandson, Henry Cabot Lodge II, went on to become a U.S. senator also. from 1937 to 1944, and then from 47 to 53.
Can we
What?
do away? What, or not even do away? What is it with everybody and going by 3 fucking names in the past?
Well, the F in John F. Kennedy stands for Fitzgerald, for his maternal grandfather.
Fitzgerald. My name is John Fitzgerald Kennedy. I will die in a fucking Lincoln Continental, and everybody will talk about it from I'm turning Australian.
Instead of Boston, okay.
Fuck.
In 1940,
That's what it is. Australians are the Bostonians of Europe, of European accents.
possibly. I don't fucking know.
And then South Africans are like Cajun people. Because South Africans just have a weird fucking accent. You ever try to do a South African accent?
No.
It's so weird. It's so like, there's definitely something going on with JFK.
You just became South African.
That's what I said.
Oh, I thought you said Australia. Oh, I thought I've zoned out. Once
No,
you started-
Australians have been like,
Okay.
it's awful fucky, this JFK situation.
All
It's a little, it's just stupider than a drop bear.
All
Did
right.
you know that? Have we had that conversation about how stupid I found out officially that koala bears are? I know it's totally unrelated, but it is hilarious how fucking dumb these things are for how much people love them. First off, they carry syphilis regularly. Or no, it's chlamydia.
Chlamydia, whatever.
Second, so you know how grooves in your brain, the more grooves and indents in a brain,
The smarter you are.
the more it
So I'm a cue
the
ball.
more capability the brain has to withhold information, the more surface area that's made.
Mine looks like a cue ball.
Theirs are almost completely smooth, to the point that one, they you know how they almost exclusively eat eucalyptus.
Yeah.
They get like nothing nutritionally from from eucalyptus. Like there's no nutritional value to eucalyptus leaves. 2, if you put a eucalyptus leaf on a flat table, a koala bear will not be able to look at it and pick it up
Why?
because it cannot distinguish that it's flat, so it cannot distinguish that it's really even an edible leaf of eucalyptus there for it to pick up and eat.
Well, they're stupid.
They also fall out of trees very regularly.
Well, I would too.
And there's something with baby koalas. Like baby koalas like just straight up don't know to eat. Or some shit.
I hate when that happens. I know to eat because I'm fucking hungry.
But ecologically, the important thing to take from this is the Amazon's still on fire. Go on.
Okay, from 1944 to 1945, Mr. Lodge served in the U.S.
Mr.
Army during World War II. Now, this, how many congressmen would go fight in a war today? No, they just send somebody else's kid to
I
do
know,
it.
there's a bunch of pussies in Congress nowadays.
And
What happened to the good old days when the Yankees went and fought for our country?
there was a period of time where during the war he did serve 2 tours of duty, seeing action in Italy and France. First, while he was still serving as a senator, he was the first U.S. senator to serve in war since the Civil War. The second was after he
him.
resigned from the Senate. He resigned due to Roosevelt ordering anyone serving in Congress and the military, they had to resign one of the positions. So he chose to stay in war, which God bless him for. He wanted to fight for this country. After the war, Lodge returned to Massachusetts and resumed his political career. In 1952 Senate campaign, he found himself fighting in a tight race for re-election with none other than John F. Kennedy. Lodge received 48.5% of the vote. Kennedy received 51.5%. This was the second of 3
That's
Senate
fucking
elections.
close.
Yeah, this was the second of 3 Senate elections contest between a member of the Republican Lodge family and a member of the Democratic Fitzgerald Kennedy clan. So there is some animosity here.
Yes, indeed.
There is a rivalry. Now, does that mean they want him killed? I don't know. But it even goes even further.
It kind of goes hand in hand with politics.
It goes even further than this. This shows that there's, like I said, was a nice rivalry. Oh, we know political rivalries get heated, and families might do anything to stay in power. You like that little note?
All the dead people accounted for by the Clintons.
The Clinton body count, anyway.
which is beyond this.
Right, that's true.
That body count potentially is crazy. Like, oh, you were
I just
returning
wonder-
home from military service and you rode on Air Force One with the Clintons. You might be dead. Probably
I just
are.
want to know, did Hillary or Bill go to any Diddy parties?
Oh, probably.
Okay.
He went to fucking Epstein Island. Why would he not be at a Diddy party? Probably used to spend the night at Kevin Spacey's house.
There's a lot of diddling in the Diddies.
Whatever happened to Tom Hanks' part of that whole thing?
I don't know. I quit listening to it.
Didn't he like move to France or some shit?
I think so.
And also leave Tom Hanks out of this. Tom Hanks is an innocent man. I don't know that for sure, but he's Tom Hanks.
He's an American treasure.
Did you see how he reacted to that paparazzi that bumped into his wife?
How?
It was great. He was just like, "Come on, guys, come on, we're trying to da da da," and this paparazzi like bumped into his wife. He was like, "Hey, back the fuck up! That's my wife!" And I was like, "Hell yeah, Tom Hanks,
What's Tom
get
Hanks?
big on him."
What's Tom Hanks going to do? Throw Wilson at him?
I don't know. I mean, you would think I just assume that anybody famous is smart enough to have taken some type of combat training.
I doubt it.
I would. Look at Mark Zuckerberg. That nerdy ass motherfucker's out here doing jiu-jitsu and shit, challenging Elon Musk, even though
Yeah.
Elon Musk probably just gonna shoot his ass.
Grab his little ass by the dick and squeeze really fucking hard and then punch him in the throat.
The old dick twist. Grab him by the dick and twist it.
Like what's his name said, that jujitsu shit works all until you half guard. I'm biting your fucking ear off. Fuck you. Anyway, the rivalry didn't stop at these Senate seats elections. Vice President Nixon chose Lodge as his running mate in the 1960 presidential election. So he was up against John F. Kennedy and Mr. Johnson. Now, this doesn't mean the Lodge hated the Kennedys, but there was a rivalry like we talked about.
I'm sure they were friendly outside of. They were probably good buds for real.
Probably. I think most of these politicians are buddies. It's
Yeah,
all
I
for
bet.
show.
I bet you Kamala Harris and fucking Donald Trump smoked a joint after that fucking shit show of a debate with Killer Mike and Bill Maher.
Right. You know, this doesn't prove that this is just a coincidence.
My
maybe
belly came out.
that you know there's a history between the two families. Maybe they wanted they were pissy that they didn't get into the White House, but odds are no. But it's a nice little fun fact.
I mean, it's
And it's weird.
it's a fact that can't that at least when you're having this conversation can't go unmentioned.
Right, and it's what's the odds of Greer being a longtime chauffeur of the Lodge family and then ended up working in the Secret Service? I mean, I know small.
It just
world,
happened to be there the day that Kennedy got kilted.
Right.
Got unalived.
So let's get back to Greer. Over here.
That backwards shit's really fucking with you,
I
huh?
know it is.
You got to think European.
Greer didn't have much of an education. He didn't even finish high school.
Great.
But
Which is fine.
the
I say that sarcastically, but like,
which isn't.
there's been
uncommon
plenty of people that didn't
back in
have
that day, back in the 40s.
even before that.
All right.
Look at Galileo. There weren't no universities for Galileo to go to, but that motherfucker ran and got bricked up in the Leaning Tower of Pisa because he said, "We're not the only world, and we're not the center of the universe." Did I tell you about that shit?
No.
I thought it was because he said that we're not the center of the universe, and apparently a big reason why they bricked him up in the Leaning Tower of Pisa is because he was like, "There's other planets out there. There's other worlds, other galaxies," and they were like, basically it broke down to heaven's up and hell's down. So if you're telling them there's other stuffs out there, what can we tell them about being good people and being bad people? Into the tower you go.
Well, you know. But it doesn't fit the narrative. Okay, where was I?
This is an overall conspiracy episode.
When he joined the Secret Service in October of 1945, they really didn't know what to do with him. I mean, how could they have anything to do with him? They stuck him in the Bureau of Engraving and Printing.
What?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
I think that's...
I'm looking it up.
Because
Go ahead.
I believe, this Secret Service just doesn't protect the president. They're big in counterfeiting, so they're big in monetary. I'm sure they have they guard Fort Knox and shit like that. Well, back when we were under the gold standard.
Let's see. The Bureau of Engraving and Printing is a government agency within the United States Department of the Treasury that designs and produces a variety of security products for the United States government, most notable, of which is the Federal Reserve notes or paper money. That's it?
Yeah.
Treasury securities, military commissions, and award certificates. So they're fucking Kinkos.
Pretty much.
Eat a dick. Just go to fucking Kinko's. Be like, hey, I got this cool gold thing. Make that sure that's embossed on there. Thanks, Kinko's guy. Instead of being like, hey, here's $4.8 million. Can I have a piece of paper for this dude that got shot at a couple times?
I think it goes a little bit, but I believe the Secret Service is entwined in all that because they handle they investigate all the counterfeiting shit. So
that makes sense.
Greer joined the White House Secret Service staff in 1950. Basically, he was running errands for the kitchen. So basically, he was the room Secret Service guy.
He was working for that jacked black dude that used to work at in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You seen that fucking guy?
I just picture him in a red coat and a little bow tie, pushing a little cart with a,
dressed like Nicolas Cage from National Treasure.
Yeah. Later on, what were you saying before I? Do you even remember?
What?
I know you're about ready to say something.
I got nothing.
We'll come back to it. If you
I'm on the ball with this side research, though. We found out about government Kinkos. We found out about 1865, the Secret Service induction.
Since we don't have a researcher anymore.
I was kind of surprised. I looked up Secret Service Inception, and it actually popped up like immediately. And I was like, this is going to be some stupid fucking Leonardo DiCaprio conspiracy theory bullshit.
After a while, he became the permanent. They said, boy, you can drive. You've got experience driving. Why don't you just drive the limo?
I want to go so he's the Ricky Bobby of the Secret Service.
Yeah. If you ain't first, you're last.
I want to go fast.
You all hyped up a Mountain Dew, Grandpa.
He said, I can't believe you let these boys talk to me, their grandfather, this way. What is wrong with these children? I love the way they talk to you, Chip. They're winners. Winners do what they want.
Okay.
He said, I might be 10 years old, but I'll beat your ass. That was this guy. Just in all the Secret Service meetings, he's in the back with a Mountain Dew and like a fucking Marlboro Red. And they're like, we're going to take this route through the park with the president, and we're going to take this left and this right. And anyway, I don't know what you're talking about, boy. I was born to raise hell and praise Dale. I don't know how to take right turns. Fuck you, Mr. Man. We're taking lefts.
I just want to know if he had anybody to shake and bake with.
Am I going to be able to run into any of these police that's escorting us? No. Well, I ain't doing it. If you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing, boy.
All right, where was I at?
We need to put barbed wire around the car. Protect him.
So he basically he went to becoming a driver, like I said. He drove for Presidents Truman and Eisenhower and naturally JFK.
So he's also the Sanka Coffee of fucking the Secret Service from Cool Runnings. He said, I am Sanka Coffee. I am a driver. No?
No.
You don't tell me you've never seen Cool Runnings.
Yes, I've seen it, but it's been so fucking long I couldn't.
The little scrawny guy that got all mad because he couldn't be the driver.
It's like I said. It's been. I saw it like when it was come out.
Oh God, you got to watch it again. It's cinematograph. JFK.
Oh, that's not supposed to be that. I don't know what that was.
No, now you're starting to talk like a Gen Z kid. On 100% sure this is factual.
Okay.
On God.
Now let's talk about the day of the assassination. On that day, Greer and another Secret Service agent, Roy Kellerman, were in the front seat. Kellerman, just so we get a little bit of background information on him, he was a former Michigan State Trooper, joined the Secret Service in December of 1941. In 1942, he joined the White House staff. It has been reported that Greer had no protective training. Now, I don't know if that's 100% factual. I don't know. But that's what I've heard, and that's what I've read and heard in other aspects. But
I mean, you think he's got a better start than just the average Joe Blow coming off the street?
I would think.
Being a state trooper.
No, Greer.
Oh.
Greer, the driver.
Got it.
The chauffeur.
Got it.
The Morgan Freeman of this episode.
He said, Miss Daisy, I ate a candy o' salmon.
I'm not even sure they trusted him with a gun. I don't know. But apparently I don't know for a fact if he had no 100% or didn't have any protective training. Well, I would think there was an academy.
You would hope.
You would have to go through, but
Something like defensive driving or something.
back in the 40s, I don't know.
That'd be some shit. You got all those like cops riding next to the car and stuff like that, and you hear the first gunshot, and you just hear this Irish guy like Serpentine, and he just starts knocking cops and Secret Service guys over.
But then again, if they were doing a lot of, maybe they break it up into financial, and maybe they don't send those guys to protective training. But if you end up on the White House staff, I would think you have to take a fucking refresher course or some kind of course. Take a little quiz.
You would think that you would be trained in carrying a gun. For his position, you would think you're trained in defensive driving, in defensive maneuvers. You know what I'm saying? And if not, also some medical field training.
You would think
stuff like that.
You would think. Now, Kellerman naturally did have proper protective training.
Was he wearing leather gloves?
I don't know.
If he wasn't wearing
holes in the knuckles,
if he wasn't wearing fingerless leather gloves, this never would have happened. If they would have hired Jason Statham or if they had Jason Statham in the driver's seat and Kevin Costner in the passenger seat, this never would have happened.
Probably not.
Jason Statham would have been like, "We're gonna get out of here." And Kevin Costner would have been like, "I'm gonna make out with the black one."
It was 63. I don't think there was any.
And
Okay, Kellerman naturally was properly. He had the most experience, I guess, being a state trooper and probably going through some protective training.
Something. At least something.
Now, if what I said is factual, which like I said, I don't know, would Greer be, and the theory is that Greer took the fatal kill shot of President Kennedy. Would Greer be the best one to take the shot? No, probably Kellerman would. Now, let's go on the assumption that this is factual, or this is likely.
Kellerman. Was there a Kellerman? Max Kellerman?
He is, well, I don't think it's spelled the same, but yeah, the boxing guy from ESPN.
I was going to say, is that name popping into my head because of this, or is it just totally something completely? I thought it was going to be like some random movie character, but for some reason that name just popped into my head.
He's a boxing.
Okay, so completely unrelated. Got
pretty
it.
Much. I mean, but like I said, Kellerman would probably be the best one to take or most experienced to take the shot. But this could just be a positioning thing naturally, because you got to remember behind them were the governor and his wife, governor of Texas and his wife, and then the Kennedys. There's a 3-seater.
Do we have any pictures of the governor of Texas at the time? Because I have a feeling that he had a Hoss level sized hat.
I do not think he was wearing a hat.
Great Teddy Roosevelt mustache.
I do not think so.
Probably a pocket watch that wasn't a pocket watch. It was actually like a container for snooze.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Huge gun.
I don't think so.
Just absolutely massive sidearm.
Obviously he didn't.
Whatever. Watch, they're going to put out new photo or new video, and you're going to see some just overtly stereotypical Texan with a giant gun in the background, just shooting randomly.
Now, this could be just a position thing. Greer being the driver, the angle would be much better if he were to fire a shot at JFK. That he would probably have a clear shot. The other Kellerman would have had to shoot through the governor. So, okay, it tracks. But
again, not an impossible thing to do, but not less probable from a logistic standpoint.
Because the first shot, which came from behind, which is known as the magic bullet, that was one that went through Kennedy's neck. It bounced around for a while, came out. It went through, blew out the back of his mind. And then went through the governor, broke his wrist. It
opened his mind.
Yeah. So the magic bullet, which changed direction several fucking times.
Now, did they
which does happen.
Yeah. Now, it hits bone and shit like that. Now, did they have the quote-unquote magic bullet at the time?
Yes, they found the magic bullet. They said they found the bullet on the gurney in the hospital.
Well, I'm saying the technology that the government allegedly has and has had for a while, the magic bullet that's
oh, no. They do not have a magic bullet
that we know of.
That can change direction, no.
No. There was I don't know if it was ice or it was some type of bullet.
That's a disappearing bullet.
Yes.
I think that's been proven false. It's a myth.
I would be curious to see if that.
Well, what kind of
if that was already a thing in the realm of possibility at the time of this happening.
No. We'll get into a little bit of a weird here in a little bit about some technology.
Oh, we haven't even gotten weird yet?
No.
With all these relationships between the parties and the Irishmen from the IRA or
well, that's
not?
just a sidetrack. You got weird on the sidetrack. I can't help that. Okay.
That's where all the best ideas for this shit comes from.
Now, in the video, there is video where, like I said, where you see him turn around. And in some undoctored footage, there appears to be something in his hand. At this point, when he turns around, it's all very suspect. When he turns around is when the fatal kill shot is fired, where back and to the right. Which, if you get shot from behind, if Lee Harvey Oswald fired all 3 shots, he was behind Kennedy. Your head would not explode backwards, and you would go forward. You wouldn't go back. The kill shot came from the front. Probably.
I've seen the photos.
For one, when a bullet enters and it exits much bigger. Especially when you're going through bone, because the bullet, expands and morphs, and so the exit wound is always bigger.
Yeah.
Than the entry wound. That is why you see Kennedy's brain spattered all over the fucking trunk.
Yeah.
Because the bullet, I don't give a fuck what anybody says, the headshot came from the front. Now, who fired that is up for debate. Now, the Warren Commission and people who swear by the official narrative still say the kill shot came from behind, which is ludicrous, which I just said. That's that rant I've already said. Now, Jackie's behavior at this point. Now, you got to remember, in the video, it shows him turning around at the time of the kill shot, essentially. Jackie's behavior is a little odd at this point. Once Kennedy is shot in the head and he goes back into the right, brains are flying, you can see her in the video, in all the videos, she's going out the back of the car, out the back over to the trunk, correct?
Yeah.
We can all agree
She's trying to get away.
The official narrative is that she was trying to gather JFK brains. I don't care. For one, she knew he was banging Marilyn at one time, so I don't think she's going to go out on a limb and get his fucking brains.
And it's also not a puzzle.
Right. It makes no sense at all.
This isn't Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you put all the pieces together and you get fucking whatever that.
You're not going to sew a brain back together. Could this be that she
5-second rule?
Yeah. Could it be that she saw the gun and she was trying to escape the car
Before she got clipped too, potentially?
Right. She saw Greer fire. Or best case scenario, without a conspiracy, she heard the final shot and she recognized it enough. It came from the front, so she was going the other way. She was fleeing the situation. I mean, in the one podcast I listened to, she made a good point. If the shots were coming from behind, they were getting further away. Wouldn't it be smarter to go down in the car? The car is bulletproof, except let's have a bulletproof convertible car.
Yeah, you should have been more like Marilyn.
It should have went down on it. She was blowing him. She would have been safe.
I would love to hear the audio of that, especially if the driver was the one that shot him. She's just crawling over the back seat, over the trunk. She's like, "Oh, you motherfucker, you! Fucking got him."
All right.
I swear to God, if he didn't sign that fucking life insurance. Why do I keep going Australian?
I don't know. There is a problem with Greer shooting or taking the kill shot. In the videos, you would think you would at least, as grainy as they are, you would still see a muzzle flash of some sort. But this doesn't stop the hardcore conspiracy theorists.
Well, and the graininess might actually lend more to that because it would be such a contrasting image compared to everything else in that car. Like, what else if you did see that, what would you argue it? It's a reflection off of the chrome,
right?
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, a perfectly timed reflection as soon as his brains became confetti.
Right, like I said, Don't let the facts get in the way of a good conspiracy theorist, okay? Conspiracy theory with these crazy conspiracy
He's just
theorists.
back at the garage, and he's like, "There's no way that's gonna buff out. We're gonna have to get a new trunk deck."
They want these crazy conspiracy theorists want to believe that.
Now we're getting into my realm.
Yeah, now we're getting into the crazy shit. They want to believe the CIA had a special gun that didn't work like a conventional gun. It was gas powered, more like a paintball or an airsoft gun, which is not out of the realm of possibility.
I'm pretty sure that's actually kind of a thing. It's still being made because instead of a cartridge with instead of a bullet with a shell cartridge or shell casing,
right, it just fired
the
out.
whole fucking thing is the projectile.
Fired. That's why you don't see a
rail gun almost.
The casing eject, and you don't see a muzzle flash.
Yeah.
Now,
it would just be a poof.
Here's my thing. In 1963, were they able to produce enough force to get a projectile up to speed enough to go through a skull?
I mean, if the
close range, I get it.
Yeah, but I'm thinking in my head, you could, because that thing that I'm talking about I'm pretty sure is like CO2 driven.
Right. Like
a BB gun would be to an extent.
But how big would it have? I mean, it had to be a pretty big canister to get enough force. I mean, in we're thinking 63 though.
But there's also, if it's a single shot scenario, one and done, and that whole canister is expended in one shot,
I mean, it's
you
possible.
might raise the potential PSI of the trajectory.
That's very true.
Of the force behind the whatever the fuck, the round.
I mean, no matter what, the CIA, it's pretty much a given that the CIA has some James Bond type technology.
Oh yeah.
What is it? Q. They got a Q somewhere.
Especially then,
down in Langley, making some weird shit.
Especially then, like in the heat of the Cold War, where they're just like fucking putting out everything they fucking can to be like, check it out, Gorbachev, suck it.
Now, all in all, the video quality, this was how many years ago?
60, almost.
Yeah, actually 61 years ago. Or no, 40, yeah, 61 years ago. Or almost 61 years ago. Pretty much, I mean, the footage isn't, we know that there wasn't a lone gunman. I don't even think that's up to date. You can't even
up for debate.
You can't even argue that anymore. I think
100%. And I don't know if anybody does.
There's still probably some people that want to say that the government would never do something like that.
Dumb fucking people.
Let's go. That kind of segues into. Let's kind of talk about the assassination. Why Kennedy was assassinated. Now, it is no secret that JFK and Bobby Kennedy had pissed off a shit ton of motherfuckers that had any power in the government. They had pissed all over them.
Yeah. Outside the government.
That's what I'm about to say. The mob hated the Kennedys. Their dad had mob connections. And it is said, I think it's a pretty good fact. I think we can say it's a fact that the mob did play a role, did help in getting JFK elected, whether being illegal or legal means, I don't know.
Well,
I'm sure they pulled some strings and enforced their power a little bit to persuade and do what they could to get him elected.
Well, and I could be wrong, but their dad was slightly connected.
Yeah,
but wasn't
the family had mob connections?
Wasn't their uncle directly tied to one of the families of the mafia?
That I don't know 100%, but I know their dad had some connections.
The Angelos possibly being at Boston.
Now, and let's be honest, Bobby made his personal mission to bring down the mob. So
how'd that work out?
If the mob did play a role in getting him elected, whether it be just favors or whatever, and you turn around and you get appointed the Attorney General, and you turn around and design a system to bring down the mob. Isn't that where that's where the RICO Act came in? That's what they did. Wasn't that Bobby Kennedy that came up with that too?
Was it?
I'm thinking maybe.
I know RICO really didn't start hitting until
maybe RICO didn't start till the 70s.
I don't think they really started hitting people with RICO until the 80s and 90s.
I'll look into that. But Bobby made it clear, and he went after the mob. And JFK did not stop him. So if the mob did help him, I can see why the mob got pissy and might want the Kennedys unalived. And guess what? Spoiler alert, they both got unalived.
Well, and because this is a repeated thing in, I'm not going to say like all the time, but in politics in Boston, there very much tends to be
Everybody's got
street crime level connections in multiple situations
like,
with government officials, like Whitey
like,
Bulger's brother.
Like Trump. Trump has mob connections. Trump has had to deal with the mob. You can't build shit in New York City without dealing with the union.
He was fully around and a businessman when the mob was still fully active, before they started getting Gotti and all them on RICO charges.
Right.
I'm pretty sure he has pictures with fucking mob guys.
You can't be in business, especially in a big city, without being...
Yeah, I've heard mob guys...
have mob connections, whether good or bad.
I've heard mob guys talk about Trump.
Yeah.
I don't know who all I've heard. I'm pretty sure Michael Francis said something about him that I heard him talk about. Maybe Sammy the Bull, but I think Sammy the Bull was locked up at that time. Maybe,
I don't know.
That's a bad motherfucker. That old man is. I would love to hang out with Sammy the Bull Gravano.
I don't think so.
Now, and I wouldn't piss him off. He seems like a very agreeable dude for the most part, considering his past.
Probably found Jesus in prison. That'll happen.
Oh no, I think he just seems to have some level of morals. He's like, if I want to fight you, I'll fight you. I'm not gonna stomp your fucking head in. If you would took a shot at my mother, then we'd have a problem. But if we're just gonna fight, it's just a fight. I don't want to kill you. I'm like, I don't fully believe you at all.
Now let's get to the big daddy of them all, the CIA.
Do you mean the ones that the who done it?
Well, we'll get into that. And I have a different take on this. The Kennedys hated the CIA, all of them. JFK wanted to and was trying to actively shut them down and disband them, and get rid of the CIA. Now, there was a lot of debacles at this time. We had the CIA were pissed off at the Kennedys, Bay of Pigs, and Operation Northwoods. Now, but for those people historically incorrect or illiterate who didn't pay attention in history class,
at least the Bay of Pigs.
Let's
I don't know. I don't recall them talking about Northwood very much in school, but the Bay of Pigs was at least brought up.
Now, the CIA blamed JFK for the failure of the Bay of Pigs. Now, why was it a failure? What was it? Basically, it was a failed military landing operation on the southwestern coast of Cuba in 1961 by the United States of America and the Cuban Democratic Revolutionary Front, basically disgruntled Cubans. The CIA blamed Kennedy for the Bay of Pigs invasion going sideways because he authorized it and said, okay, let's do it. Sounds like a good idea. But once it happened, he made crucial decisions that the CIA did not like. One, he refused to provide critical air support, which basically hampered their ability to be successful. So basically, it was a failure, and the CIA was all butthurt about it.
Fair.
Because they failed. Now, Operation Northwood is a whole nother fucking can of worms that I believe we've mentioned and we talked about briefly on this podcast.
I feel like everything gets brought up at one point or another.
But Operation Northwoods was a proposed false flag operation that originated within the U.S. Department of Defense in 1962. It called for CIA operatives to stage and commit acts of terrorism against American military and civilian targets. Blame them on the Cuban government, which would force us into a war with Cuba. That is basically what a false flag is. Now, it has been debated whether or not they wanted to blow up airplanes. Now, whether or not those
put it plainly
were were there U.S. citizens? Did their plan have U.S. citizens on that? Just blow up a random plane, or were they going to? I would like to hope maybe they'd be smart on that and just hijack a plane and get everybody off and drone it.
Realistically, at the end of the day, do we think it really fucking matters to them?
Probably not. But JFK, this made him feel a certain way. He said, "You guys are fucking nuts," and he 86'd the fucking.
You guys are fucking crazy.
You guys. He said, "You're fucking out of your minds," and said no. So that was another black eye on the CIA, because CIA had a major fucking hard on for Cuba and Fidel Castro. Because
he was the closest communist.
You got to remember, this was the height of the Cold War.
Yeah, and he was the closest communist to our borders.
And Cuba was, 70 miles off the coast of Florida?
Yeah, you can take a fucking kayak.
Yeah. Now, as a kicker, if that wasn't enough, JFK fired Allen Dulles, the CIA director. And a fun fact of this, guess who was on the Warren Commission?
Allen Dulles?
Allen Dulles. Huh. I don't see any hanky-panky going on there. Now, the military-industrial complex. JFK wanted to and had plans to scale down Vietnam. He never wanted to, JFK did not want to escalate the Vietnam War
which
conflict.
Is a good call.
You know, we did have, I believe, troops in '63 over there, but we weren't at full scale operational status. I think we had advisors technically over there at that time. But this would be bad business for the military-industrial complex. They want war. Nothing is more profitable than a good war. Don't forget that in January of 1961, I believe it was Eisenhower warned, in his farewell speech, warned the American public about the military-industrial complex. I believe the first shot, from my research, went through the neck and did not kill him. But that's all right. Let's see. Most likely the answer is all three of these people colluded, in my opinion. The military-industrial complex wanted him dead because, you know, they wanted war. Or they wanted him out of power. CIA probably wanted him dead. Let me correct that. The CIA probably wanted him out of power too, which they're smart.
Which would include him being dead.
They smart enough to know you have to be dead. Mob probably wanted him dead.
It was the same reason why his brother ended up dead. Because I think everybody kind of knew that Bobby was a shoo-in to get some type of major office higher than what he already had reached after his brother had been taken out. You know what I'm saying? Like, Bobby was on deck, and then Bobby was dead, was unalived, as YouTubers say now.
I think it was this. Basically, this was a fucking coup. This was a government coup. Because the government has not been the same since the JFK assassination.
Yeah.
The military-industrial complex has been in power since JFK. Immediately after JFK's assassination, Johnson escalated the Vietnam War. So we pushed further into Vietnam. Now we get into when I was born, the Cold War, which was all the rage up until the early 80s.
It's the B's and E's.
You know, and not to mention all kind of military ops in.
It's like drugs. Oh, you're not Cold Warring? Everybody's Cold Warring, man. You're not cool if you're not Cold Warring.
Not to mention all the, there has been a lot of military ops, Libya, and that didn't go well sometimes. The first Gulf War back in '90.
I mean, this shit's never, like, if you think about it, for the most part, it has not stopped since then, in some way, shape, or form.
I mean, the '80s there was no wars in the '80s.
Yeah, but we had shit going on.
But we had the Cold War, which we were under threat at all times of a war.
Yeah.
The first Gulf War popped off in '90, and then naturally 9/11, put us in a 20-year war.
And we can't act like all throughout the 80s we weren't poking different bears.
Now think about how much money did the military-industrial complex basically make from 1963, when after his death, we started escalating Vietnam, to 2023. How many? What's after trillions? of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I can't fathom that.
Gajillions.
That is.
I'm gonna look that up.
If I'm.
Oh, quadrillion.
Was that quadrillion?
Yeah.
I am not. I think it's all three. It was a coup. The CIA, and nobody does a good coup like the CIA. And the mob played a role.
Yeah, because you can never track it back to them.
And I'm pretty sure. I mean, maybe I'm dreamed this, or where I read it was false. But the mob and the CIA were connected. They used mobsters for wet work, basically.
Yeah.
So, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it fired from the grassy knoll, and it was Italian. But
And its name had a shitload of vowels in it.
Or Mr. Greer fired it from the front seat. I don't know. We'll never know. And here's...
Then you could bring in the Irish mafia, the Irish mob.
Yeah,
being Boston.
Yeah, here's the thing. When Trump got elected, he said he was going to release the files. He released a lot of the files. I believe the exact percentage was like 96% of the files got released. What's the other 4% say?
Right.
That's if you want to get rid of all suspicion, release it all. But you held back, so therefore
everybody's still going to have a shitload of questions.
You played a role in this assassination. The government somehow played, whether or not we are way off base, but the government played a fucking role in this assassination. That's why they're not releasing the other four. And I believe Trump was quoted as saying, he was questioned on that. Why didn't you release all the information? He said, if you would have saw, I believe, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but I think this is what he said. If you would have saw what I saw, you wouldn't have released it either.
That makes it worse.
Because can't people want to talk about this and, oh yeah, the CIA did, the government, killed Kennedy to stage a coup over the government and get, but if it turns out, if you hear it, thinking it and hearing it as fact are two different things.
Very much so.
But people are, because deep down inside, people are under this, they're naive and think the government actually gives a rat's ass about them. They don't.
Not on an individual.
They care about their bottom line and their power. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's like 2020. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. That was nothing more than a power play to see if they could get away with it.
Yeah, 100%.
And then they realized, oh, we can get away with this because you want to get anybody to do anything, scare the fuck out of them.
Yeah, so let's do this, and then let's open it back up, and then let's have crazy amounts of political unrest between the two major partisanships of the country for the next 4 years now.
Oh, it's going to be further. It's going to be.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, it's just getting worse and worse. And then what's going to happen? They already know that they can lock us down because of a fucking disease or a virus.
If the people let them do it.
And then once shit really hits the fan, guess what they call for then? Martial law. Which I've talked about this before with people, and they're like, I think martial law would be a good thing. I'm like, I don't think you have a full grasp of what martial law is. No. If you thought COVID lockdown was bad, martial law potentially is that on all the steroids.
If you go to the park in 2020, the cops just told you to go home.
Yeah.
Martial law, they're shooting your ass.
Yeah. We're putting you in a fucking camp.
Yes.
Like, COVID was Spike Dudley. Martial law is like The Rock and Braun Strowman. And, like, if you take every other wrestler other than Spike Dudley and Rey Mysterio Jr.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want martial law.
No. It's no ways.
There is a reason why 1865, I believe, I forget the name of the act, where the U.S. government is not allowed to occupy on the U.S. soil other than bases, you know, Fort Bragg and all that. I don't know Fort Bragg. There's a reason for that. Because the Civil War was not pretty, kids.
Right.
Sherman went through fucking Atlanta. That March East burned a lot of shit.
We're like low-key working our way towards another one.
Yeah. See, I think it'll be different now. It won't be that. If we do break into that, it won't be. I don't think it'll be that. I love people.
I think it'll be a war of information.
It'll be a war of propaganda, of. I don't know if it'll be a hot war like that. I mean, I think there'll be sporadic hot spots, but I don't think it's going to be, military marching, battles.
Yeah,
But
then
you
you have
never
all
know.
the middle ground people just like me sitting on their porch with megaphones while people are fake-ass marching through the streets like, you're both fucking dumb.
But, here's the thing, I was watching well, I'm done, but I was watching a documentary on Wyatt Earp.
I think I saw that pop up on my recommendations.
They lied to us on Tombstone.
No way.
Yeah.
Which part?
Ike Clanton wasn't a fucking
A bandito?
a bubbling buffoon. He was actually the head of the not Curly Bill. Curly Bill wasn't the head of the Cowboys. It
Really?
was Ike Clanton.
Why, Ike? Whatever do you mean?
Curly Bill was one of his top lieutenants.
Huh.
And I don't believe they ever deputized the Earps.
They're just vigilantes.
They were vigilant. And actually, it did say, public people don't realize that vengeance ride that he took almost popped off another civil war. Because the South was on the Clanton and the Cowboy side, and the North was on, Northerners were on kind of, hey, we need to handle these Southerners. Arthur had to get involved. He sent Sherman to Tombstone to kind of look at, but the public
But that wouldn't have made it for as good of a movie.
The public sentiment was that Wyatt Earp was a fucking killer, which he was.
A lot of guys were back then.
But then again, if you killed my brother and damn near you took a shot at all of us, you killed one of us, you maimed the other, what do you expect him to do?
Yeah.
I mean, and he never got Ike. He stopped. Wells Fargo was funding him.
Jesus.
Because that's what the Cowboys were, cattle rustlers, but they all started stealing the silver stagecoaches with the silver coming out of Tombstone.
Yeah.
And it was Wells Fargo was carrying it. It was their company transporting it, and all that silver was going back east. So Wells Fargo was funding the vendetta ride because they wanted the Cowboys gone. And then it got a little hot because they didn't want that coming out that they were funding a vigilante. And when the money stopped, and Wyatt was basically, him and Doc were wanted, they kind of said, okay. And kind of the deal was disappear for a little while, we'll pardon you later, and just disappear for a while. Stop this shit.
Go south of the border, partner.
Yeah, so, I mean, and the sheriff, or no, was it the sheriff or the Behan, the guy who originally was dating the actress.
That was the sheriff, right?
Yeah, I think he was the sheriff, the county sheriff. That was actually real. And he was actually on Wyatt's side, but Wyatt was tagging his girlfriend. And that...
You rascal.
That flipped him to where he tried to testified against Wyatt at the OK Corral.
Kurt Russell, you dog, you.
And they did get it right that they weren't wrong, that they did get married. He did go to Hollywood eventually, and that's where the story kind of has morphed into the Wyatt Earp being a good guy, because he was telling the story, and he wanted to.
Well, and still to an extent he may have been.
Well, I'm sure,
but just not to the extent that we thought he was.
Well, I don't blame. Hey, they were coming after him. You got to fight fire with fire, bitch.
Hell's coming with me.
He did shoot a guy, but he didn't say that, and it wasn't. Well, because now it's Ike.
Him
he takes it with a spur and cuts it.
Him walking with the makes much more sense to me.
That actually didn't quite happen that way, but pretty much that's how it happened. He was outnumbered dramatically, and he shot like 6 of them.
Look at my balls.
And they just missed him. They were the stormtroopers. They couldn't hit shit.
Bro, come at me! I've got huge balls.
All right, I think, but it was it was like an 8-part series.
You can't kill a man with this degree of a mustache.
And the guy who played Wyatt Earp looked like Johnny Ringo. Michael Baum or whatever his name is.
Fucking
Which
hell.
I was a little disappointed. I learned this. Johnny Ringo was not a real person. That was one of the better characters in that show.
Son of a bitch. Everything I thought I knew was a fucking lie.
Yeah, you know
I can't trust anything anymore.
They embellished.
Son of a bitch.
All right, that's it. Thanks for coming, everybody. Don't go to best advice. Don't go to a Diddy party. And if you see somebody walk into somebody's house and they got a closet full of baby oil and lube, exit and walk
Or
backwards.
extort them.
Don't turn and walk out the door. Walk backwards out the fucking door.
Extort the shit out of them.
So I don't know what we're gonna do next week.
I have no idea. I haven't even thought about it.
Coming up, I'm gonna do true crime. I think I found another satanic cult killing, and I'm gonna look into it. And if I see one mention of a Metallica T-shirt or a fucking Black Sabbath
Going
T-shirt,
off.
I'm fucking losing my shit.
Just let me know so I can get one off Amazon because I don't have any of my old band tees anymore. I got old and fat, and they also fell apart.
I wear my Kiss One Kids in Satan services.
I don't know, dude. I wish I had some of my old band tees.
I think I was at that. And then AC/DC was Antichrist, Devil Child, or something stupid like that.
Well, I mean, like
It
I
has
had like
nothing to do with electricity.
I had some like really sick Metallica shirts back in the day. I had some pretty good Zeppelin shirts. What else? Oh, dude, I had a Motorhead shirt that I wore like a motherfucker, and everybody else was like, "Who's Motorhead?" And I'm like, "Fuck you." Who else?
Lemmy? God damn.
Dropkick Murphys. I used to rock the shit out of my Dropkick Murphys shirt. Nobody knew who the fuck they were back in the day. Honestly, a lot of people still don't. Who else? Right now, I'm too fat for all of them, but like the Social D, got the Social Distortion, got that from a concert. Cage the Elephant and Beck. Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson. I would be fine if it was just Rob Zombie because Marilyn Manson's part of the show was very lackluster, I will admit. This was before the sexual assault charges and shit. Or allegations.
Well, that'll fuck up a good day.
Oh, and hey, good ending note. Go listen to, I think it's like a Visceral Thread or some shit like that. Whitechapel's back. The King is back. Great deathcore band.
Oh,
and then they went a little
is that the one
soft.
from
What?
Whitechapel, isn't that
The churches? They got burnt down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're named after that.
Oh, that wasn't the guys who did it?
No.
Oh, okay.
The band's called Whitechapel, but they went soft for a little while. Like, it wasn't bad, but then they put out a new single, and it's like heavy as fuck. And everybody's like, "They're back! My dick is hard again!" Fantastic. Listened to it like 5 times in a row when I saw it come out.
All right. I'm out.
Yeah, I got to go figure out what I'm going to do next week for this.
Don't forget to follow us on all the social medias. They're in the description. If you're listening to us, like I said earlier, on your favorite podcast app, be sure to head on over to YouTube and catch the live stream, the videos there. Or if you want to catch the video and you hate YouTube, I don't blame you. Go to Spotify.
And also hit us with a review, preferably a good one, but, whatever. Whatever.
Travis will show his navel if you give us a good review.
I think I did earlier.
You did. That was a freebie.
Yeah. If you want to continue to see belly button, either give us a good review or subscribe to the OnlyFans that doesn't exist.
It might. I just haven't told you.
Feet cam.
All right, guys. Thanks for stopping in. We appreciate all of you guys. We will see you next week. Take care. Don't go to a Diddy party. We're out. Where's the stop button on this bitch? There. Stop.